Today on the Topping Show, Bud Light college football tweet is ratioed as usual. Vivek to skip the CNN Iowa debate due to their bias and instead will do his own town hall. Harvard president steps down, but even her resignation letter apparently is plagiarized. Rivian Q4 results caused the stock to crash about 9%. A firm buy now pay later wins 2023 stock race. Snoop Dogg is hired to report on the 2024 Olympics. And Ford recalls a little under 113,000 F-150 trucks because of a weak bolt. All of that and much more on The Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of Topping Show is sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. Gotta say he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, you see, that's the joke. If you're an IT there or business owner, you can reach the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of January, so if you click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Now going over to the business part of the podcast, you have Rivian Q4 results are in, and the stock, it drops precisely 9.4% in a single day. Now this was earlier this week, reported on Reuters, and Rivian, they have a couple excuses that they note in this article. One of the largest being Amazon does not accept deliveries of the little electric vans during Q4, presumably because Amazon is so busy actually getting stuff delivered, because for most companies, Q4 is the most profitable, important time of the year. That's literally the whole idea of Black Friday is a fiscal term, actually, getting from the red, which is a negative on the balance sheet, finance, getting into the black, hence Black Friday. It's when you make the profits. And I suspect that's why Amazon doesn't take deliveries of them, but that's not great for Rivian because that's one of their largest clients, as well as that is actually being one of their largest investors, which helped them get off the ground. And that's a big part of their portfolio. Every time you see an Amazon van, I forget what you call a little, I forget the actual name. They're not very great at marketing. Granted, they only, I believe 60 days ago, they got released from the exclusivity contract in which now they can sell that same van to other providers, whether it be FedEx, AT&T, or what have you, which they did get a contract with AT&T, which is, that helped their stock go up a little bit. But that van is no longer exclusive for Amazon. So it'll be interesting to see if that part of the commercial sales grows. But getting back to the actual numbers here, going back to Q4, it looks like the company handed over 13,972 vehicles in the past 3 months of fiscal, their calendar year is their fiscal year 2023. They know that the numbers of vehicles delivered were 10% lower than the previous quarter, and below the estimates, 14,430, where you had, which that number came from 3 stock analysts. They're polled by Visible Alpha. They blame high interest rates in the United States, have raised monthly payments for electric vehicles, make them less affordable, prompting a price war with Tesla, which, yeah, that is a big issue. It's one of those things where, thanks to the government printing more money than they ever had before, they had to raise the interest rates, so there's not, I was about to say hyperinflation, but we got that too, so we don't have super duper hyperinflation. Knowing the government, they probably have a little bit more nuanced term, but that's the reality of what it is. So, yeah, you're seeing not just electric vehicles in particular, but the whole automotive industry is not put on pause, but it's as slow as a first-generation Prius. Perhaps that'd be a good metaphor for it. Because, I mean, you look at all these different YouTube channels that focus specifically on the automotive industry, they're all saying the same things. Because of high interest rates, because of uncertainties in the market, a lot of people just are not buying vehicles. And people also had an issue of, during the pandemic, they overpaid for vehicles. You had dealerships putting 10, 20, 30 grand markup on some of these vehicles. So the people who bought the vehicles, and they're kind of a precarious situation where they can't make payments because it's too high. It's a pretty dark time for the automotive industry. Well, it's also dark because they're killing a lot of V8 engines that everyone knows and loves. But it's a rough industry all around. Now, they also noted that Rivian produced all those vehicles, 7.3% last quarter. So it looks like that took the annual production of vehicles to 57,232 units. Now that did overall beat the forecast with a forecast of 54,000 units. Let's see here. And again, looking at the overall trend of the Rivian stock, it'll be interesting to see if they make it in 2024 with so much economic uncertainty, so many I mean, they had to raise both Rivian and Lucid, two electric automotive manufacturers. They had to raise funds during 2023 in convertible notes. So some of them had to give stock options, and I mean, they had to raise $1 billion last year. I mean, overall, if you look at the 5-year trend of Rivian, they're still down. Ooh, that's not great. 84.26%. So again, the stock, it's going to, look at your watch in 2 seconds, it'll change because it's stock market. But they're currently trading about $20.45 per share. And what's their IPO at? Again, this is why I'm always, I'm not giving financial advice. I'm just personally always paranoid about IPOs because not all the time, but it seems like many of the time, or majority of the time, whatever the IPO is, the stock goes down immediately because it's overvalued. And then after a couple of days, it normalizes. Then maybe it'll come back up by 2-3%. And then of course, over time, on average, companies do go up in value. Now it looks like the Rivian stock their IPO was $129.95 as November 12th, 2021. So it's lost 84.25% of their value in the past 5 years. In the past 1 year, however, it is up. So the past 1 year, it is up 18.05%. Year to date is kind of not really pertinent because, again, we're only a couple days into the new year. But yeah, as soon as the news came out, it dropped 9.3%. I suspect it'll probably go, maybe hit 9, maybe up to 12 or 13% for like the 5-day average as more and more people start to hear about the news with Rivian. And I'm not quite sure what the cure is going to be. I mean, well, we do know what it's going to be. The cure for most things in life is sales. But for Rivian, they do have the new SUV out, or newer SUV. There's a lot of people that appreciate that. But you look at the total automotive market, not only is it stalled, pun moderately intended, because ICE engines can sometimes stall, but you also have an instance of consumer preferences shifting dramatically, which, again, Toyota read the room correctly, unlike majority of the competition. If you look at what Americans are looking at in terms of the next vehicle, one of the biggest categories that's growing is the hybrid technologies. Now, personally, you know me, I don't really like that because I like reliability, which is why I have an internal combustion engine that has 3 pedals, also known as a manual transmission. You'll hit near 1 million miles, the Japanese piece of engineering, as opposed to, again, caveat, technology changes very quickly. We might have a magical battery technology tomorrow. There's some fascinating things going around with sodium-based technologies or sodium-based batteries, but with the tech we have now, electric cars are basically disposable toys, in my opinion. They're great. I know some people, some of my friends love it, and truth be told, if you want to ride around as a passenger, it's a fun, unique experience, but personally, I like to have something that'll last darn near my whole life or more, and I smile every time I shift my vehicle, so it makes me happy as well. And you can't put a price on that. Well, I guess they did when I bought it, but nevertheless, the biggest category that people are starting to evaluate in the United States is hybrids, and that's where Toyota put a lot of their engineering into, and I think you're going to see a lot of the competition go that way as well. So again, it'll be interesting to see at the end of the day what Rivian does, and if people start to reinvest in Rivian with, again, economic uncertainty. Again, I'm not a doctor. However, I have a theory. If you click the subscribe button, it may very well help with my speaking ineptitudes and my stuttering. I'm just saying, if you look at the videos about a year ago, they're a lot more stuttering, but the subscriber count has gone up and the stuttering has decreased. Now, don't get me wrong, there's still plenty of room for improvement. I'm just saying, can't hurt, and perhaps that is the cure. So, if you click that button, I greatly, again, appreciate it. And actually, let me know in the comments, would you invest in Rivian? Do you think it's, kind of a fool's bet, so to say? It's just going to go down again? I mean, a lot of these electric automotive companies are struggling. Same with Lucid, Fisker as well. So it'll be interesting to see what the future is for those companies. But as I always say, time shall tell. Thank you again for taking the time to tune in today. Again, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of January. So if you click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, leaving a comment is a great way to give me a little bit of feedback. I do apologize if it takes me a couple days to get back to you, but it's a great way to let me know how can I make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.